could just mute me during that, right?
I could.
Okay, good. Because I didn't ask.
Yeah, we weren't, but I'll take it out.
Okay, perfect. Welcome!
Welcome
back, everybody.
to Soul of a Gamer.
To Soul of a Gamer.
I said it first this time.
Every week, we play 7 games.
That's a lot of games.
And we tell you about one of them because we don't feel like telling you about all 7. So...
Oh, man. I feel like I played 7 games this week.
We find the worst one and we tell you about that one. That'd be hard.
That would be hard.
That would be really hard.
We would never talk about the best games. I know it
No, we wouldn't. I am Scott now, though.
And I'm Stephen McGee.
And here we go. Last week's game was...
Hatoful Boyfriend.
Hatoful
Oh, I remembered right away. Look at that.
Nice.
Bowl.
And yeah, that was a lot of fun. We really enjoyed that game. It had a great story. A little boring, but very good story.
Yes.
This week's game, we are bringing you Dark Sector.
Yes.
Now, this is an interesting game, but we're going to get into that. So let's start with our first little area.
What's on the box?
What is on the box?
Well, it says Xbox 360.
It does.
It says Xbox Live.
It's got a 10 on it.
Yeah, because it was $10.
Okay, but that's a 10. Okay, so that's on the box.
It says Dark Sector.
It does.
It says rated mature.
You know what? I'm not surprised they did the mature rating, but I'm a little surprised. Because normally mature is like not just blood, it's also language. And like there's no nudity, there's no language. It's literally just blood.
Which is crazy because it has, I guess this has blood and gore, intense violence, and strong language.
Like, I don't remember there being any point where it's like, fuck you, spit in the face. Like,
Yeah,
even when the guy's getting tortured,
either.
I don't remember that. So
Yeah.
I think that mostly it's just fucking gore. They saw that and they said, just throw an M on it.
And it's not even that, like, it's stylized gore. It's not even that gory.
No, it doesn't. Well, except for one of the last scenes that we'll talk about. But it was, like, obscenely gory for no reason. So, but we'll get into that. Yeah, so what's on the box, Steven?
All right, so
the French one.
I don't know if I can do this.
There's 3 languages. There's Spanish.
Divines, la arme otime, la veris, la source de
No, you're saying
votre...
la and it's actually lu.
Whatever. I'll do Spanish. I know Spanish a little.
Do the English.
Okay.
Do the English.
Become the ultimate weapon. The virus, the source of pain, your enemy, your power. Unleash the deadly power of the glaive and become the hero.
I didn't like that at all. Honestly, that box was really stupid. I don't like their pausing in there, like, become the ultimate weapon, the virus. It reminds me of that Bo Burnham song, like, the war, the drought. like when you separate, it does sound like a fucking song.
It kind of does. Like,
Yeah.
They I don't know why they had so many different pauses in that.
Yeah.
It was a little weird.
Yeah, the game is a B game, so that's probably why.
This is the box.
If you're on the YouTube, you can see the box. So
yes.
yeah, kind of a lackluster box. I'm not.
Yeah,
with it.
it doesn't really tell you, like, it doesn't tell you the name of the character.
No.
It doesn't tell you that you work for the CIA.
They very rarely even mention the name in the actual game. It's like twice.
I know,
I
it's
think maybe
freaking
3
ridiculous.
times. Like, it's really not that much.
But yeah, like, it just doesn't tell you anything. It just tells you that you're gonna have a glaive and you're gonna have a virus that makes you a weapon that gives you pain and power.
Yeah, and then you could read it in French and Spanish as well.
That's it.
So this game, I guess let's go into the next segment.
Okay.
We can talk about that there.
Are we jammin'?
Actually, yes.
No.
The sounds in this game are really good. I was going through the game and I'm like, holy shit, this is really creepy fucking music right here. Oh my god, what does that sound like? They have points where it sounds like scratching on a chalkboard. Like, they do a good job with the sounds in the
They did
actual
have,
game.
like, it seemed like it was an atmosphere for a, like, it seems like they wanted this to be more of a horror game.
Yeah.
Like, they had atmospheric music and stuff
Yeah.
for a horror game, but it was never scary.
There was no thrilling moments where the creature's right behind you and you had no idea, because they all make sounds.
So,
you can
like,
hear them as if they're next to you, even if they're above you or even if they're below you. Like, it's really creepy in that sense because you have no idea where they are.
Well, and like some of the worst parts were like most of the time, so the music would be playing really loud when there's enemies that you're fighting or around you or something.
Yeah.
But there's always a bunch of times where the music would bug out after I had like 1 or 2 enemies left, and I didn't realize I still had 1 or 2 enemies left.
Oh yeah, that was probably just an Xbox thing. For me, I didn't experience that.
I was on the PC actually.
Oh, never
I
mind.
played it on Steam.
I don't remember that at all. That never
I
happened to me.
had it happen a couple of different times to me, and I was just like, "Why did the music stop?
My biggest
I still have
problem,
an enemy."
Mine was it kept going because I couldn't find the last fucking enemy because they were in a spot that like
yeah.
they were glitched themselves and couldn't move. And I'm like, where the fuck are you?
Yeah, I think I had one time where the enemy was glitched inside of a wall.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a very cheap game.
Yes.
Yeah, but I thought the sounds were good. Like sometimes I'd be going through and I'm like, man, if this was a horror game, holy shit, this would be creepy. As
Yeah,
fuck.
I think that's the reason why I kind of like about the sounds is because it didn't match the game to me as
Yeah.
much. Like it definitely had a really good atmospheric sound and had a lot of good sound effects with like the glaive and like the electricity, the fire, the explosions.
Even the monsters sounded really cool.
Yeah.
Like everything sounded good. It's just it didn't quite fit the action
Yes.
adventure theme.
yes,
No.
in my eyes at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll give it a B on the sounds, maybe a C.
I would give it a C minus.
We'll give it a J on the sounds.
That sounds good to me. That wasn't like a J quality sound. It was just not what I wanted.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to
How does it play?
how does it play?
Both decent and bad at the same time.
I feel the same way. I did like the movement actually. I hated the running.
The running was terrible.
Yeah, every other game does this thing where they include the running, like a small run, into your main movement, and then they
Yeah.
usually have like a button to sprint or something.
Yeah.
And then this game, it's just like you get to walk unless you're sprinting.
And then if you're sprinting, it changes the camera angles and does all this
Yeah,
weird
and you can't
stuff.
really move all that well. And I
Yeah.
get it. Like in a normal sprint, you probably wouldn't be able to move that well. But again, this is a video game. It's not like
Well,
fucking real life.
and you're superhuman.
Yeah. Well, kind of.
Well, I mean, ish.
Yeah. So some of the things that I didn't like, aiming system was kind of poor unless you had the mods, which was nice. The mods really did help out. With
I
the
will
accuracy.
say the gun spread on this with some of the guns
It's insane unless
was
you have the
atrocious.
accuracy.
It was like shooting with your thumb at the edge of a garden hose.
Yeah.
That's how much it spreads out there. That's
Yeah.
about how much, like even
That's
a
why you need
pistol,
the accuracy
a
mods.
pistol at long range, even with one of the accuracy mods, but sometimes like if you were at
Oh yeah,
long
a pistol
distance,
at long range is bad.
it would
anyway.
shoot 10 feet that way, then 10 feet that way,
Yeah,
then
yeah,
10 feet
that's
that way.
normal.
And I'm like,
That's a pistol.
Not normal for fucking video games.
Yeah, true, but
look,
I
look
mean,
at Halo 2 or Halo 1 with
I
the
know,
pistol.
you look
Like
at-
you're always hitting no matter what the distance is. The
Yeah, I
exact
know,
place you're
I know,
aiming.
because Halo is extremely unrealistic with their guns.
But their gunplay was magnificent.
Yeah.
I wanted that
But
more.
I get it with the pistols, and I gave up on the pistols pretty early on. I bought a different gun, so.
Yeah, and that was even kind of crap. Their system for buying guns, like you really could only ever afford like 1 or 2 guns throughout the entire game.
Yeah, well, the point is you get all these extra mods, and you're supposed to sell them.
Oh, okay.
Because each mod is $2,500.
Yeah.
So you would sell 4 mods and have 1/3 of a gun price, and you'd sell the gun and probably have the rest.
All right.
So that was the whole point in that.
But-
I ended up buying the best AR, which was nice. That one was really good. And the little submachine gun I really liked, so I kept that throughout the entire game.
I kept with the pistol and glaive. The glaive in this game is the best part of the game.
Yeah, but the glaive is limited. This is one of the things I didn't like, too, is how limited in the range it is.
I did hate that.
Yeah, because it just felt like they were forcing you to use guns and then not giving you enough ammo to use the guns.
Yeah, not enough ammo to use the guns and not enough or too much spread on the guns.
Yeah.
Like if you want me to use guns at longer range because my glaive doesn't go
The
that
AR I
long.
had was perfect. With 1 accuracy mod, it was so fucking good.
Nice. I guess I should have found that gun.
Yeah. So, and one of the other things in this game that you can do is actually grab shit with your glaive, so you can grab
That
guns
was
off the
kinda cool.
ground after you kill someone, and that kind of solved that ammo problem a little bit until you didn't fight.
Well, and
people
I
anymore.
never use the guns of the other people because they're like, oh, if you deplete their ammo, it blows up.
No,
And
it
I'm
doesn't
like,
blow up. You just throw it down.
Oh, it had something where it said something will happen to you.
Yeah, so basically it has a timer on it. So you can only, and this is something I liked about the game actually, you could grab somebody's gun, but you could only use it for like 4 or 5 seconds. because it had
See,
a
I
timer.
like that.
Yeah, but it has a timer on it that detects the virus. So the whole point is
Yeah.
so the virus people can't gain weapons.
Yeah.
So then you just shoot with it. It only has 1 round of ammo anyway. It has 30 in the whatever and then 1 extra round.
Yeah.
That's it. And you can get through that in 4 or 5 seconds.
True.
Like literally, I would just kill 2 people, grab another gun, kill 2 people, grab another. I wouldn't even reload.
I guess
There's
I
no
was always
point.
scared that it was going to blow up, so I never used any weapons ever.
Yeah, so
throughout
that-
the entire game, which
but I
probably
thought-
would have made it easier for
Yeah,
me.
probably. And that was a cool concept in the game, so you didn't have to waste ammo. Like, that was the whole point, and that was just not wasting ammo. Because it's the same as going up to a gun and picking up the ammo from the gun.
Yeah.
The only difference is you probably get more shots out of it from not doing that. You get more shots out of just grabbing the gun.
Yeah.
So,
No, I guess I can see
liked it.
that.
Yeah. I mean, in Halo, it was really frustrating because if it wasn't a human gun, you had to pick up a new one, right?
Yeah.
So,
true.
similar idea to Halo, just on a different level.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, the glaive is really cool in itself. The only thing I hated was powering it up, of course. It was really fucking annoying.
Yeah.
Having to sit there and wait 2 seconds, especially if 40 things are shooting at you. Otherwise, there's no point in throwing it. You have to throw it 6 times, and that 6 times you throw it, you could have just powered it up twice.
Yeah, and it's the powering it up like to get that extra power glaive that where it has this yellow signifier
Yeah.
or whatever. If you didn't get that exactly perfect, it wasn't a powered glaive. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's so stupid. It's like a split second that you have to
So
go to the button.
this is it does 3 times the damage if you power it up and if you throw it like that.
Yep.
It turns yellow instead of throwing it like regular, and you do 3 times damage. So most things you can kill in one hit.
And a lot of the things that have like shields, like if your glaive normally bounces off an enemy, if you power it up, it'll go through the enemy.
Yeah.
So like some of the big mechs and stuff like that, you could actually destroy with the powered glaive, but not the regular glaive.
Yeah. So, and that was nice. The glaive was cool, just the limited range was kind of annoying.
Yes.
One of the things that was really annoying is later in the game you get this power suit of armor,
Yeah.
and it does nothing.
That was annoying to me.
Yeah, literally
like-
it doesn't do anything. You don't get any bonuses to your protection, no
Yeah.
bonus. Like, the one thing I thought was, man, if they would have just doubled or tripled your power.
And protections. I wanted
Yeah.
protections. There was
Well-
no way in this game to get protections.
Well, yeah, and that was fine because most of it was the idea was like Gears of War, hiding behind walls and shooting when you could.
Yeah.
Like that was the idea of the game, and then that was fine to me. The one thing I wanted was more power because the enemies get more powerful, but you don't.
Yeah, that's
So-
true. Well, the thing that bugged me a lot was the AI in this always instantly knew your location.
Yep.
And they could instantly hit you.
Yeah. So a couple of the powers you get, one of them is invisibility. Didn't mean a fucking thing.
That was kind of nice sometimes. You could
Sometimes.
actually, if you were good with it, you could actually sneak up on them and just do a finisher on them.
Yeah, but you get to kill one.
Yep.
and that's
then
it.
you're seen.
Yeah, and then you're
you
seen.
have a little power up time window to wait till you get the invisibility
Yeah.
again.
And there's really no point to the invisibility. It just makes a fight longer.
Yeah.
So honestly, one of the most annoying parts is it doesn't work on bosses.
Yes.
So bosses still know exactly where you are, even though you're invisible.
Yeah, I didn't even try it on the last couple of boxes because I was just like, it's not worth it.
Yeah, I tried it on the main guy, whatever, not the big bad guy, but the guy in the armor, the girl in the armor, I guess technically.
I was gonna say.
But the guy in the armor, for all intent and purposes, for what we know at that point, is
Yeah.
like he knows exactly where you are, just aims right at you and kills you. And I was
Yep.
like, okay, well that
Well-
was worthless. I thought I was gonna get like a reprieve to where I can move myself where I wanted, but nope, fuck
Well,
it.
and most of the bosses could one-shot you.
Yep.
And that was the annoying thing too.
Well, and the bosses aren't that bad, honestly.
They-
You text me about that one boss, you're like, this boss is so hard, I beat it in like 4 seconds. It was literally the easiest boss of the game. I was like, well, what happened? You just have to learn, like, mechanic-based bosses are all going to do the same fucking thing. They have a rotation. You have to look to the side and
So
grab this
I was having
thing.
trouble because at first I didn't know like when. So the boss he's talking about, I'll go into it a little bit right now. It's in chapter 7, and this boss turns invisibility. It's the one you get the invisibility from. He turns invisible, runs at you in the water. You damage him. There's like frost containers where
Yeah.
you can,
freeze
freeze
his
him.
legs.
Yeah, and then just shoot him and do a bunch of damage. Then he goes up this like tower thing, and then he disappears. And for the first like probably 8 times I tried this mission, I didn't see where he was coming back from, and he would just throw something at me and kill me,
Yeah.
and I didn't know where it was coming from. So I was just like, I just kept on dying instantly, and I'm like, what the fuck? And that's when I texted you, I was like, this boss is bullshit. I can't
Oh.
even... figure out what's going on.
He killed me once with that because I wasn't expecting it, but after that I just hide behind a pillar and he doesn't kill you. You have to be close enough to the pillar.
I didn't know where he was coming from, so I
He always comes from the same area when he's doing
I didn't know that, so I was like thinking he was behind me, and I kept on looking the wrong directions and stuff.
But those things explode too, so that's the problem with those. If you're too near a wall behind you, kills you. If it gets to the ground, kills you. You have to be like almost on the pillar for it not to kill you, because that depth of the pillar is not enough for it to kill you.
Okay.
So.
Well, the other thing I didn't realize that I kept forgetting about was the shield. So I just activated the shield anytime he came up to me, and I was like, oh, I'll just.
Yeah, I didn't even do that. I didn't need the shield. I died once because I wasn't expecting the first one, and then after that it was just easy. He was really fucking low health too compared to the first boss. I was
so
like,
low health.
We'll get into that board story like when we talk about what we liked and what we didn't like. But yeah, the mechanics of this game are very hide behind a fucking wall, shoot, throw your glaive, continue hiding behind the wall. If the charging enemies come at you, you just walk a little bit fast.
To me, this was a really bad cover shooter.
Yeah. Very big cover shooter. But what I figured out is if those guys who just charge at you and like hit you with melee weapons, if you just walk backwards, they try to hit you and they miss every fucking time.
Yeah.
Like literally every
It's
fucking
ridiculous,
time. Like it doesn't matter which one it is. They're all slow.
Yeah, and the dodge was really effective too. It was almost like a Dark Souls dodge.
Yeah, but I didn't even use the dodge on those guys. I just just walk backwards, wait for you to hit, and then I'll throw my glaive and you're dead.
My favorite thing is when they got up to me, I would dodge forward and then turn around and hit them. The one thing, there was a couple levels where it seemed like there was endless enemies coming at you.
Yeah, but they weren't. So this is a Call of Duty thing that they did, and this is one very reminiscent of Call of Duty, but it's not exactly the same. In Call of Duty, there's points, at least the ones that I've played, I'm not sure about later ones, but there's points where there are endless enemies. Like, you have to move forward, otherwise the enemies continue to spawn and you can't get through them. In this, no, there's not. There's literally, if you just stay in place, it seems endless because there's so fucking many, but eventually you hit a point where they stop.
Well, there was one time on this bridge where I was on this bridge.
There is endless enemies on the bridge.
Okay.
That was the only spot where I was like, why the fuck is this the only weird spot?
Yeah, because I was on that spot for a while. And I was like, okay,
it's telling
there's
you
never
to move.
this many
They
enemies,
try to do the Call of Duty thing. They're like, listen, you got to move fucking forward. But if you move forward, it's supposed to, like, you kill one and then it stops.
Yeah.
And this one, if you continue moving forward, they keep fucking spawning.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, what's the point?
So you just have to run past them.
Yeah, they literally run past them.
Okay, so I wasn't crazy. I thought that one spot. I was like, there's one spot in the game that's just endless. And it's bullshit.
The only spot that does that. Makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
No fucking sense.
Okay, I'm not crazy.
It was ridiculous. It didn't have a purpose to do that.
No, and it was so annoying because, like you said, none of the other parts of the game had that.
But you can just, they're easy. They're like tier 1 enemies, so you can kill them with one glaive hit or whatever, one charge glaive
Well, on
hit.
most glaives, if you hit them in the head, it would be one-shot kills. And I did like, one of the mechanics I really did enjoy, which a lot of people don't, is the slowdown mechanics and controlling the glaive.
Oh, yeah, that was just so boring. It's just such a boring aspect of the game, and you can only really use
boring,
it. Fundamentally, I didn't test this, but I was curious about it. If you threw it and if you controlled it, if you were immune to damage?
If you were behind something, you were.
Okay, but you couldn't be behind something when you throw it.
Yeah, you could.
You have to wait for the glaive to come back to actually go back behind something. I know you could like stand behind something and throw it and not get shot or whatever, but if you were in cover and you threw it, you have to be out of cover.
Because if you peeked over and threw it and then you went into the slowdown, I only got hit like once, but like it seemed like my character ducked back down.
Okay, because normally you have to wait till the glaive come back to go back into.
But I'd only see like the red of you getting hit like maybe once or twice at first, but I never died doing it.
Yeah, but again, it's just another thing that you could do to cheese the enemies, but it slows down the fight so much, and
it does slow down the fight.
The fights aren't hard enough for me to sit there and cheese the enemies like that.
There were a couple of missions where there's just an obscene amount where it was really helpful, especially when you got the upgrade
if you used
to the
gun, it wouldn't have been that bad.
Well, the gun sucked for me, so I fucking stopped using the gun. And especially when you got the upgrade on the glaive for the elemental burst, where you could blow it up.
That was such another
beautiful,
worthless fucking power. Because again, it didn't change anything. If they actually made more enemies and that was the only way to get through them, sure, use that. But otherwise, the same concept came out through the entire game, where you have this now exploding power where you could explode and kill maybe two guys who are right next to each other, but a grenade could do the fucking same thing.
If you had grenades.
I did.
Well, I didn't always have them. So when I didn't have them,
If you use the gun more, like the really big thing is looking for ammo.
Yeah.
So like literally, I was never out of ammo because I was always looking, and I was never out of grenades because every ammo cache gave you grenades.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I almost went to every ammo thing
Yeah.
that I found too.
Yeah, but I was always had grenades, and they were way more useful than the exploding.
And I would just, honestly, I would throw my glaive at someone and then shoot him once with the pistol, and that
Yeah.
would kill him.
Yeah.
It was kind of like noob combo in Halo.
Yeah.
Plasma pistol and regular pistol.
Yeah.
Like,
But
that's just what I did for almost every enemy throughout the entire game.
those
even all the
charging
bosses.
enemies, the gun is so much more
I
useful
bet.
than the glaive is, because the glaive does a base damage, but you can make the guns better. And basically, with my submachine gun, 4 shots with it killed 1 enemy.
Oh, shit.
Whereas
That's
3
so much
glaive,
better.
like throwing the glaive 3 normal times would maybe get it to the finisher part.
Yeah.
But that's it, yeah. So just in this game, if you play it, I would recommend using guns.
And I definitely say that the finishers were decently, like, they were decent, like, variety of them.
Yeah, but they were boring.
They were kind of boring.
Yeah.
There was a couple that were kind of okay.
Yeah. All right, well, let's move on from this.
Okay.
We've already talked a lot about some mechanics. Let's go into
It's story time. Let's get started.
the story in this. Basically, you know, what we do now is we give you a little synopsis. You're a character who's been inflicted with a virus, who works for the CIA, who's trying to stop the virus. You get through all this shit with your love interest in tow and this mad scientist and your best friend Yargo now, and you get to the end and you win and you're happily ever after. Like, literally, this game has such a shit plot, it's not even fucking fun.
It's the dumbest fucking thing ever.
And I thought of the one way they could have made this better, and it was to put in grimoires, to put in some kind of encyclopedia of information. So this is something that was around in this time period, because BioWare were champions at this. They were Knights of the Old Republic, they did it. Mass Effect, they did it. Dragon Age, they did it. They just added a section that said, like, hey, you know this thing exists, but you don't know anything about it. Instead of telling you in the story and wasting your fucking time, let's give you an option to read it.
Well, and this was heavily inspired from Resident Evil 4, which had a lot of notes and stuff in the game where you can get a lot of the lore from that.
Yeah, but the one thing that I like about this is not putting in like cutscenes that have to tell you about it.
Yeah.
This way you have an option to either learn about it or not. Like you can care about it or you don't have to care about it.
This story just was so underwhelming.
Because you had no idea what was going on.
You had no idea what was going on for most of the game. The twist.
I didn't even know I was with the CIA.
I didn't either.
So like I went in after I beat the game and I'm like, I gotta look up some of this information because I'm like so confused with if there's a secret ending I missed or something, because this ending seems so fucking lackluster. And I read the first part, hated so and so, member of the CIA. I'm like, what? No.
I thought the same thing because I looked up.
You get it?
I looked up a video afterwards too because I was like, I'm fucking confused as hell right now. Like, what the fuck happened in this game?
So like your love interest comes up to you at some point and you're like, and we have history, and then they never explain the history ever. You have no idea why you have history. Well, again, this is you don't have to explain that if you have grimoires. If you have something in the game to read and you're like, oh, okay, so that's what fucking happened.
The dumbest thing with the love interest is there's a part right when you get the suit of armor where she comes up to you and she's talking to you through a door, and then you lock the door and made it.
You locked the door. You broke the lock.
Yeah. And so you're like trying to get to her and you're like wanting to talk to her, and she comes up and she's like, you need to quit going against us. You should just join us, blah, 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 blah. And then you go to the next boss fight, and spoilers, you destroy the boss that you've seen throughout the entirety of the game. And she's that boss somehow.
Yeah, so I didn't remember. Well, I mean, that made sense to me. The boss is taller than her. That's the only thing where I'm like, what is she wearing fucking heels right now? What the hell's going on? But I knew as soon as that door scene happened, I'm like, oh shit, she's the person. I completely forgot, because I played this game before. Yeah. I had no idea. Up until that point, I'm like, oh fuck, no wonder. Because I'm like, why haven't I seen this boss yet? When do I fucking fight this guy? Yeah. Yeah, it is. I'm like, it's fucking her. That makes so much more sense now.
You beat her, and her helmet comes off, and then you realize it's her, and she's like, you were right. You need to do this.
Yeah, and she has this nose. We've talked about this before, and this nonsense fucking change of heart. That's where you're like, okay, so now you want me to beat your boss? I don't understand.
Yeah, just all of a sudden you get one ass kicking, and you're like, I guess.
But I think
you were right.
I think what it was at this point is he made a deal with the CIA, And she didn't like that. 'Cause the whole point was not to
Maybe.
I think that was the point there, but they don't explain that to the end.
Yeah.
When you actually make it to the last chapter.
Yeah.
Which is still a chapter away.
Yeah.
So it just... This whole thing, again, grimoires are fucking essential. You need
Yes.
backstory. You cannot just... And the one bad part about this game as you're going through the story is there's too much action and not enough fucking story.
Yes.
Like, if you feel like, oh,
100%.
God, I want to get to the end of this fucking chapter already. How am I supposed to do that? This chapter's 4 hours long. What the fuck is going on? And then no story in between. It doesn't make you excited to get to the next part.
Well, and the chapters would just, they increasingly got longer and longer and longer and longer
they did
without
and they didn't.
any payouts.
So chapter 4 was insane.
Yeah.
It was like an hour and a half, 2 hours long. But the first 3 chapters were nothing. And then the next 2 chapters were nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like,
and then like
why was
chapter
chapter
7
4
was
so
long
long?
again.
Yeah,
and then-
like it just made no sense why certain chapters were way longer than others.
Yeah.
Like I would have liked it more if it got gradually longer as you got through, because that makes sense to me. It's like, okay, well that this chapter should be longer. There's more story in this chapter,
Yeah.
but they didn't have any
There
fucking
was
story.
no story
Yeah.
really. Pretty much the only story you got throughout this entire game was
At one
in
point, you were in
cutscenes.
love with this girl. That was
Yeah.
the only story you got. I had no idea why the bad guy
Well-
was doing what he was doing.
And then it's stupid too because like you find out that this virus, like the government kind of set you up or whatever,
Yeah.
but like the virus that you have in you, because you have this disease, which it doesn't explain. There's the I forgot even the name of the disease is really long
I have
and
no idea.
obscure. But you have this disease, and because of this disease, you don't have as much pain.
The tenocyte? No. So that's a real disease. So he has so your character has a disease that stops your pain receptors, and that's a real disease.
Yes.
So I don't even know what the fuck the point in it. Like, there's no point.
It's because the pain drives you crazy, apparently, for this virus.
I guess, but
And so every other person.
does she have the disease too?
Yes.
But she's not crazy.
When she was dying, apparently, it was her fading and her coming back to her normal self, not being as crazed from the disease, because the disease was also dying inside of her. And that was her change of heart.
I don't love that. I don't love that at all. Yeah, so
And because you have this disease, you can actually have this virus and become the things that you become the weapon, you get the arm, you get the glaive, and you get all this, the suit of armor, without losing your sanity.
Yeah.
So you're one of the very few people in the entire world who can do this.
Yeah. Your pain receptors are blocked, and you get and it's called like the tenobite disease?
Something like
Tenocyte?
that. I don't even remember.
So basically, it just builds metal on your body.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really do anything other than
But it doesn't increase your armor at all.
Yeah. It doesn't increase your strength. You're not Colossus or anything from
no.
X-Men. You're just a fucking piece of shit. But again, this game would have been so much better if they had grimoires. Explain more. Give us more testing. I want to hear about test subjects.
Yeah.
Like throughout the entire game, I'm like, all right, the coolest part is when you're in the hospital hearing like the cool little notion saying, oh, we were experimenting with this little boy, and then he said there's constant pain or whatever, and then he died.
Mm-hmm.
Like, those are the cool parts.
Yeah.
But that's the only cool parts of the game.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
There's literally like nothing. And you can explore and explore and explore all you want in this game, but the only thing you'll find is ammo boxes.
Yep, and upgrade
And
things.
and some money.
Yeah. So the other part about this are the bosses.
Yeah.
So I actually like the boss fights. So this is reminiscent to me of the Star Wars game we played, The Force Unleashed.
Yeah.
Similar with the finisher whatever thing, only without having the fucking bullshit where you tap this button, tap that button. If you get it wrong, you can just
They
start
didn't have
over.
quick time events
Yeah.
in this one.
And this is how they should have done it, honestly. So I think they really perfected the finisher stuff in this. However, lackluster, that's all they did was finisher stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it just felt like you could hide behind a wall, hit him with your glaive, and do a finisher really quick, and you're done.
Well, and honestly, like, I kind of hated all the boss fights except for the last one. The last one was actually super entertaining to me.
So the only boss fight that I thought was good was the first one. And that's just because it
Yeah.
was tiered.
Yeah.
Whereas the other boss fights felt too easy. They just felt like, dodge this, dodge that, shoot it really fast, and it's dead.
Yeah.
And with the first one, they tiered it. They said, okay, he's up on a wall first. You have to knock him down. You have to get 3 finishers on him. All right, well, now he's on the ground with you. There's a new tier to the fight. Finish him off that way.
Yeah.
Like, that made sense.
That
That's a boss fight.
one was good too.
That probably should have been the second to last boss fight.
probably.
Because that one was harder than all
Well, he
the
was
other
the
boss
biggest
fights.
enemy.
Yeah.
I guess the second biggest enemy. I guess the last boss
guy.
was
But,
technically
all he
still
used was fucking tentacles.
Yeah.
So...
And it was really, you didn't even have to move.
Yeah, and then in these boss fights, they gave you options, which I didn't like. So one of the things you could do in the boss fight, the first one, is you had an electricity thing and a fire thing, but you didn't need both.
Just the fire,
You know,
basically.
you just needed one. You could use either one, I think.
Oh, okay. I used
I
fire.
I used fire, too, because it was more readily available.
Yeah.
But I was like, what is the fucking point? Because I kept trying to, like, let me hit the electricity and then hit him. Then with fire, then hit him. I'm like, okay, so there's no fucking point either
Nope.
way. That literally...
It's just hit him with something while he's got that gas around
Yeah.
him or whatever.
Yeah, it was really fucking annoying.
Yeah.
It made no fucking sense. Giving multiple options on a fight like that makes you think you need to use both, and thinking that you take longer on the fight.
Yeah.
And then after that fight, I'm like, well, I'm sure every other fight's going to be way easier. Also, the part where this invisible creature that you find, when he goes up to the cage that it's in, I'm like, why are you opening that?
Right?
You know, he's like, I don't see nothing. Maybe I should open it up and see what's in there. Like, what?
Why?
Yeah, what is the point in this? Don't open that fucking cage.
Why
Do
would you-
not open the
Why?
fucking cage!
Like, why, though? Why?
Yeah,
Like,
literally, it's locked and there's a creature in there and it's invisible and he fucking opens it. I'm like, there's nothing you did. You don't use that to go through anything. It's literally just an ended cage. There's no point to opening it. It doesn't
There's
push the
literally
story.
none.
Besides, like, somehow the creature can't break out of that cage but can destroy an entire fucking metal boat.
yes.
It makes no fucking sense. Because you're on a boat when this happens. He's in a metal cage. And then as soon as he gets out of the cage, he's like, well, now I'm going to sink this boat. And it's a fucking destroyer class, like, Russian fucking boat.
Yep.
And I was just so confused. I'm like, how did it not break out of the cage, but destroyed the entire boat by itself? I don't understand.
Maybe it was like one of those mutant containers that takes away all their power inside
Maybe,
of it.
but I doubt it.
But they wouldn't explain that even if it was.
Because then how was it invisible inside the fucking
Yeah.
cage?
Oh,
Like,
fuck you.
yeah. So like,
Damn it.
it made
That's so true.
like nothing made sense in this part. Like it didn't,
Nothing can
you
make sense.
You shouldn't have opened the like. Why were you even on the boat? This was my most confusing. Like, why was I on the boat?
I don't even know.
Yeah, like I don't understand. Like at one point you have to jump on this cargo container that's being flown by a helicopter, and you go on the boat. I'm like, why did I come on this? Am I looking for someone? You don't find anybody. You just find the creature.
Well, and here is
Then
one
you
of
leave the boat.
Here's one of my biggest problems with the game too, story wise. Military several different times says you are done. Come home.
Yeah.
But never send anyone to come grab you. Like
No, they did. It just takes a while to get there. It was in that weird country, like a satellite Russian country or something.
oh.
Like, remember,
that's
he's
what
like,
it's
we're
supposed
an
to be?
hour out. We're an
Oh,
hour out.
okay.
We're coming to get
I guess
you
I didn't
now.
really
Don't do
listen
anything.
to that. I
yeah.
was so underwhelmed by everything that I
Yeah.
kind of stopped listening.
Yeah, so they basically are on their way, and then Yargo gets kidnapped. He's like, but this is my second daddy. Like, I don't know why he was so close to Yargo.
I don't.
I have, again, need backstory, none there.
Yeah, because Yargo's being nice to him and
Yeah.
helping him with his disease.
So at first,
and
too, I
he's
thought-
only the one telling him the truth, though, too.
Yeah, I thought Yargo was also the black market guy. Apparently he's not.
Isn't that like his cousin or brother? Or
I have no
something?
idea, but I thought the entire game that it was Yargo. I'm like, oh shit, I'm not gonna be able to access the black market. 2 seconds later, I'm like, Yargo, how'd you get back? What the fuck? I'm supposed to rescue you.
Yeah, it's just there needed to be so much more. Like, if they went into any character, there's no character development in this.
Yeah. Oh, so and there's a whole scene, guys. I got to tell you about this fucking scene.
Okay.
It makes zero fucking sense to me.
Okay.
So remember the last part of the game. It's the last chapter. It's right before you go into the vault.
Okay.
Your boss lands.
Yes.
He's like, stand down, son. Earlier from this, you realize that the shots they've been giving you to suppress the virus is actually poison.
Yep.
And he's like, stand down, son. We're going to send you back home. You got your wish. And I'm like, I am covered in this disease. So what are you talking about?
Yeah, the disease that they were like, we'll kill anybody who has this disease.
Yeah.
You need to kill everyone who
But
has
I'm
this
guessing
disease.
it must be transmutable in a weird way.
I don't
Because
know.
he went up to you and touched you.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it must not be airborne or
I
whatever.
think it has to be like stabbing, like he had
Yeah.
to him. Yeah.
So
Like inducted into the bloodstream.
yeah, so yeah, and he goes up to you and he hands you the thing, and you're like, "What? You think this is a joke? I know this is poison," and you stab your boss with it.
Right in the neck.
Right in the neck. However, there is so much blood that comes out. This is the tiniest needle in the world. This needle is so tiny. And as well as you're surrounded by soldiers who are just watching you continuously stab your boss.
12 soldiers that are right underneath this guy who are supposed to be with him at all times.
Yeah.
And if you are any part of the military at all, you know that if your chain of command is getting murdered
Yeah.
right in fucking front of you, you
intervene.
kill that fucking
Yeah.
person.
And then, like, so you're all standing there, and I just picture the guys going, like, John, should we do anything? No, hold on. You wait for the right moment. We gotta wait.
Well, yeah, and then, like, it opens up to you playing again, but you're, like, everyone's behind cover, and you're like...
No. Remember, you do, like, a little...
oh, yeah, you do, like, the
energy
yell
blast somehow,
yeah.
which you don't get to do
ever in the game.
again. Somehow you're able to do it in this cutscene, but it's not one of your actual powers. And you do this energy blast, and then everyone's on the ground except
I
for
forgot
some of
about
them.
that.
Some people are actually moving around to get behind boxes. It gives you a chance to get behind a box so you can kill people really fast. You kill the 2 people on the ground who are still there, and then the people to your left and then the people to your right. I think that's how I did it. But
Yeah.
like, this was such a weird moment where, like, just so much blood coming out. Guys, I cannot express how much blood is coming out.
Like, it's seriously just like... bleh,
Yeah.
bleh, bleh.
Every time you
From
stab
a needle.
too. Yeah,
From
it's
a
literally
needle.
like a 16 gauge needle. If you know how big that is, it's not very fucking big. It's not like a fucking knife.
It's like a plasma, if you've ever donated a plasma, almost that kind of a size of a needle.
So you're just doing this, and this blood is flowing, and these soldiers are just watching, enjoying the show, getting their hard-ons from their boss getting killed. Like, it just made no sense, this part.
It didn't. And well, it's stupid too, because, like, he's like, we're done, we're out of here, they made a deal with us. Why are we making a deal with them? Stab! Like,
No, he's like, the weapon. You don't understand, son. That weapon.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, and it's just like, what weapon? I still don't know what this is.
No one explains anything.
Yeah, so at this point in the game, you know that a certain radio signal makes the virus pissed off
Yeah.
and, like, suppresses it. But it never explained that also a certain radio signal makes it spread.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how?
That's also what I'd be curious.
Yeah, I'm like, how does it make it spread? I'm so confused.
Well, and he's like saying that it's all around the world and it needs to hear a calling.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you guys created it and you've only stuck a few people, how
I don't
is
think
it
they created
all-
it.
Or whatever.
I think
how is
they
all around
found
the
it at the
world?
bottom of the ocean.
Oh, maybe.
Because it was on a submarine to start out. I was just a little confused. Maybe they found that suit of armor? Because the virus
Maybe.
naturally makes a suit of armor that's human-shaped somehow.
And fits you perfectly.
Yep, it's very fucking weird. So anyway, the last boss fight's really lame. You see the
I thought it was at least kind of interesting.
Menser?
Robert Menser.
Menser's your main bad guy here. He's a doctor who wants to somehow make the world weird.
He's also infected with the virus.
So he's also
but
crazy.
his, like, instead of him getting, like, metal limbs or something, his, like, head's, like, increased in size a little bit, and he's, like, weird.
He's got a metal spot on his back.
Yeah, he's got the metal spot on his neck, and then he somehow can, like, plug himself into this
Giant suit of armor.
testicle throne.
Well, so what's stupid is
Tentacle
it's a
throne.
giant suit of armor.
Yeah.
Doesn't fucking move.
Yeah.
It makes a couch for a human to jump in to control it, and all it's like, all right, now you get to control all these tentacles. But what about, like, Gundam stuff?
All 4 of these tentacles.
Five.
There's
There's
5.
five.
Oh, yeah, there's 5.
But there's only 3 for a long time.
yes.
But it's like, but what about Gundam fighting and shit? Well, okay, hold on.
Whoa.
The suit doesn't actually
That's a
move,
different
guy.
game.
You gotta just move these tentacles,
If
okay?
you want Gundam, you either need to play Gundam or Mech Assault or Mech
Robotech
Warrior
or
or
something.
Lost Planet
Yeah.
or Robotech.
You don't get to play fucking Gundam
No.
in here, motherfucker. You have to move these tentacles instead. So they move these lame ass tentacles that literally smash you or shoot you or
And the
make
ones
something rise from the floor.
they'll put their like tentacle into the ground, and then they'll have a bunch of like small little black tentacles like grab you. But if it grabs you,
You just smash a button for a little while and then it's done.
you hit a button and then it cuts it.
Yep.
It doesn't
And
even do
you're-
any damage.
It jumps up and it's like surprise butt sex.
Pretty much.
And that's it. That's all you get. Like, and then you defeat the tentacles by shooting them with lightning.
Yeah.
Like, it was.
Well, and if you could honestly, like, there's a bunch of spots on it.
Yeah,
like,
you could shoot it.
You could take those out, but honestly, if you got lightning on your glaive and put it inside of their mouth, it was a one-hit kill.
Yeah. Although
on
you
each
had to hit the
tentacle.
center.
Yeah, you had to hit the
Which
center.
is stupid.
Inside the mouth.
It was so stupid.
Which sometimes they would just sit there with their mouth closed.
Yeah.
And you're
So
like,
yeah, that's why you have to shoot the thing to open up the
Yeah.
mouth. Yeah. So literally, this boss fight took maybe a minute, and then it's done. It was so boring.
It was The lamest, but the most entertaining.
Yeah. So you kill the guy,
aspects.
and this is where like Yargo comes. At this point, you told Yargo because he had to open up this vault.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the beginning of the game, a submarine rises from the depths of the world, and it has a virus on it.
Yeah.
And they lock the submarine in a vault. And you go in, you're like, I didn't realize it was a United States submarine. I'm like it made a fucking difference.
Yeah.
Who gives a fuck? They found something at the bottom of the
It's
ocean, I
because
figured.
his government was telling him that it was the Russians or whatever.
Yeah, they're like, who gives a fuck? Well, they're the ones experimenting with it, so it is the Russians. So you fight him. Yargo, at this point, you told Yargo to leave and lock the vault and lock you in it. I'm assuming you're going to sacrifice yourself, which would have been a much better ending.
Yes.
But Yargo comes back and says, it's still going on, the transmission. And you're like, what?
How?
Why are you still here?
He's dead.
Yeah, so you have to kill him with electricity for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I don't quite understand why that stopped it, but then you leave the vault and Yargo's narrating you and he's like, and you're like the best cool guy in the world.
And this was the other dumb thing. There's 2 different times, I think, where you try to attack Mincer, but you can't because that arm won't let you attack him. And so, like, when you're going to kill him for the last little bit, you switch hands and use your human hand to actually kill him. Yeah. And I'm like...
But during the entire fight, it doesn't fucking stop you.
I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That's how you get around it? Which, it was like almost...
Why didn't you just take your gun out with your other arm then and shoot him?
Yeah, I was like, seriously... So many other times, I'm like, just if he's human or whatever, mostly human, just shoot him. Shoot him in the face.
Yeah.
He's dead.
It made no sense why you couldn't attack him or whatever. It made no sense why he was even doing what he was doing. Apparently, something was calling out to him.
Yeah.
Something was calling out to you, too, which it would have been so much better. Again, tier fight. You defeat Mincer. Then suddenly the thing has a mind of its own.
Well, it's seriously, like, they could have done something even like Gravemind.
Yeah.
Where, like, it kept on, like, actually, like, talking to you and interrupting your gameplay.
Well, that's what I mean.
Fuck, what the fuck is going on?
Like, tier the fight, so the second half of the fight is against, like, a Gravemind-like thing. So,
but I mean, like, if they had that even exponentially throughout the game,
Yeah.
like, the closer you got to him, the more he was infecting you, like, that would have been cool, too. Like, it could have done a lot of things with this, but it just didn't.
Yeah, and somehow you escape. You leave with your armor ready to go. I just don't understand.
I don't either.
So, but now you're like you're wanted by all the governments, right? You killed U.S. people and you killed Russian people.
Yep, you defected from the CIA, killed one of your commanding officers, and you killed a bunch of Russian people too. So, like, you're just against everyone, I guess. But you have powers, so
wonderful.
Who's gonna stop you?
Yeah. So the ending just is so lackluster and boring. Some of the things we didn't mention is some of the robot suits. Some people have like robot. No, they were so easy, Steven. You could just literally walk around them. They can't aim at you fast enough to stop you. So I shoot the one thing, shoot the second thing, and shoot the back thing. Literally, it took me less than 10 seconds per thing to kill these things.
What?
They were so easy to kill.
I was trying to kill him with the power glaive, and it would probably take like 15 to 20 power glaives to the face before you could do the finisher on
What
them.
are you talking about? You shoot the 2 electrical things on its shoulders and the one on its back. And then
Are you fucking kidding me?
Power glaive it, and then it's
I
on
was
the
literally
finisher.
just trying to just do. Just trying
again,
to kill
you gotta use guns. Gotta use guns, man. So you shoot those 2, and you're literally just walking around it slowly, and it's so slow it can't keep up with you.
Well, and so I would turn invisible, get behind it, power glaive, power glaive, power glaive, power glaive, power glaive, and then he would turn around, start shooting at me. I would turn invisible, run around him. Power glaive, power glaive, power glaive.
You were doing it way harder than me. The first one was hard because I didn't realize what to do, and then I'm like, oh, those things blow up. I shot the one in its back because I'm like, okay, that one's
They don't tell you shit in this game.
Yeah, they really don't. They don't explain anything. But once you figure it out first time, everyone after that is easy.
If you ever do figure it out, or you just do like I do and just happen upon it after 10 minutes of fighting one fucking
It took
enemy.
me about 2 minutes on the first one, and then after that it was 10 seconds each.
The game took me overall like 9 hours, 8.7 hours.
Yeah, I don't know how long it took me. It wasn't very long. So the other thing is the jackals, which are actually really cool. So they're these giant fucking robot. They with a tank head or whatever. Like, they're really cool because when you get in them and they're moving around, whoever worked on this worked really well. Because it felt like how it should walk.
Yeah,
it was really sluggish because it was fucking heavy as shit because it had 2 armor plates in the front of it. It just felt like this thing should walk this way no matter what. It shouldn't have a clear movement. and you have to like the guns were cool. You could ride it yourself. You had to kill one by itself with like a bazooka thing. You fought helicopters too, where you had to do the same thing. But it was really cool.
Yeah, no, and like actually those missions where you were on it were pretty decent too.
Where you were riding in it,
Yeah.
You do it in the last mission, and then you do it in the like 4th or 5th mission.
Yeah,
I think
the
5th, I think.
I think it is 5.
Yeah. So and it's really you get to kill the guy out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's really cool.
Yeah, you shock it and then you get behind it.
Yeah, and then you finish it by just killing the guy out of it, and you get it. But yeah, you could do all of this stuff. The only thing that was annoying in the 5th mission when you do it is you can't leave the jackal until you make it to the end.
Yes.
And I had no idea. So I'm trying to like leave the jackal, and it's like, nope, you have to get to this spot. Then you can leave.
I was playing this on Steam, but I was playing it with the Xbox controller.
I was playing it with the keyboard, mouse.
The thing that was stupid about the Xbox controller is not all the buttons were like they wouldn't let you change the button scheme on the controller.
Yeah.
And so like some of the buttons I still had to use the keyboard for. So like switching to a gun instead of my glaive, I hit the number 2 button.
Weird.
Getting out of a vehicle or getting in a vehicle, I had to hit C on the keyboard.
Weird.
And I didn't know that at first, so I was just sitting there and I was like, and then I like looked up the controls and I was like, couldn't figure out whatever, so I just started hitting random keys and I'm like, God damn it.
Yep.
And so I had to go through the game while like playing with the controller, but then still, I want to use a gun. Well, which is another reason why I didn't use the gun very often, is because I would have to hit 2 on my keyboard.
Might as well switch to keyboard at that point, you know?
I like controllers.
I know, but it's just not as good. The aim, maybe that's why you're spreading so much, because the aim on the mouse was so much better. It was so much easier to get headshots.
Well, and like the cursor, the spread was just, I feel like it's just that bad anyway, because my cursor was on their head.
Yeah.
But it would take me 10 to 15 shots to hit their head.
Were you bursting, or were you just...
I used both the burst pistol and the regular pistol.
No. What I mean is like you were... Okay, so you weren't like just holding down a trigger and holding...
No.
Yeah. I don't know. That was weird.
Yeah.
Mine was perfect. Even with the pistol, it only spread sometimes. It wasn't too bad.
Especially
I switched it
the
after
farther
a while.
distance. Like if it was like... If they were only like 20 feet away, like if they were within glaive distance, I could shoot them in the head. If they were outside of glaive distance, the spread was so ridiculous it wasn't even
because
fucking...
you're using a pistol?
Well, yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
You gotta switch to the fucking machine gun, man. Never had problems.
I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I bought one of the machine guns early on and I did not like it.
It was great. I loved it. I used it nonstop. It was so good, especially the last one I got. I was like, this one's so fucking good. It was so nice. It was so much easier to hit people super far away.
Okay.
And you could buy a sniper. The carbine was a
hated
sniper.
the sniper.
Yeah, sniper,
it was
but it was a
bad.
one-shot kill no matter where you hit him.
It
which
was
nice.
that was good, but the one thing I didn't like about it is that you had to have it zoomed in.
Yeah.
Which I was like, come on, let me have like every shooter game I've ever played has you can aim down the sights or look through like zoom in, and I'm like, why does this not have a zoom in feature? Why is this automatically zoomed in? I hated that.
Yeah, it was fine. I only used it during that one part on the boat. That was the only time.
And the thing that sucked is you could only change your weapon at black markets. So if you didn't like a weapon, you had to get through an entire level, basically.
Well, that's why you jump out of the black market and just like shoot it a little bit, figure out how it's going.
I should have done that because I would get out of the black market like, ooh, I got a new weapon, and just immediately go into the next part.
But normally you could just go right back into the black market. And it was annoying that that's the only place you could change weapons.
Well, and you couldn't, like, when you sold things, it wasn't for the same price you bought it for, was it?
It was similar.
Oh, okay.
It was half, I think, probably.
Yeah, which is a lot.
And if you put mods on it, it was still worth more.
Oh, okay.
So, mods were the big thing in this game. You had to use mods.
Yeah, and I had a couple on my pistol, but I picked the wrong ones at first. And then you couldn't change your mods, so I sold my pistol, then rebought it again just to change the mods.
Yeah,
like,
that was really annoying.
Stupid.
One of the things that most people hated about this game, I bet, was just the fact that you couldn't like switch out mods.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it makes sense that you mod a gun and you can't just fucking keep modding it however you like, I guess. But in a video game world, should be able to do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly.
So yeah, that was story time. Let's move on to
Worth, or nah?
You know, I'm tempted to go nah.
I'm 100% going nah.
I'm tempted, but the glaive was so much fucking fun.
That's the only thing that I say. Like, well, and I guess one other kind of interesting thing is that the developers that started working on this game. I guess they didn't fully finish, and somebody else bought it out.
Yeah.
And then the developers actually went on to make Warframe, which is
Okay.
why the models of the armored characters look exactly like the stalkers
Yeah.
in Warframe.
Okay.
And so that's what the story they actually wanted to. But they said they didn't tie the lore into each other at all. They're like, no, that it's totally separate. We
Yeah.
did not agree with what they were going with. It wasn't the story we wanted to tell.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. And I'm like, you can kind of tell that playing this game that it wasn't like complete, or it wasn't like full fleshed out. Like there was no story
Yeah.
really. And yeah, like I said, the only interesting thing that I found interesting, because I used to play Warframe a little bit, I was like, oh, that's why these characters look so familiar.
Yeah.
Like, oh, if that makes sense, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. I will give this game a Worf. I get it. It is a gnaw game for sure. Just because the glaive is such a cool fucking weapon. That was like literally the highlight of the game, and they introduced it too fucking early, I think.
Yeah.
Like maybe you got the glaive when you got the suit of armor.
That would have been an
Yeah,
interesting
but you
thing.
go through the whole game, we're just using
Yeah.
guns then. But again, the suit of armor just made it so fucking lackluster.
Yeah.
There's no point to that. Or maybe extend the powers or something by double. Or
I mean, the
something.
chicken suit was better than that armor.
Yeah, do fucking something with it. Like, do fucking make it somewhat important to have
Seriously,
that armor.
though.
But yeah, this game is otherwise a big nah. If you're gonna play it, you're only gonna enjoy it if you really just are high or fucking drunk while you're playing it, having fun while
I
you're
didn't
playing
even
it.
enjoy it when I was
Like, you might be more like if you're doing it as a dare, like a drinking game or something. Yeah.
Well, like, and there are some like fun parts to it. I can't say that it's completely not worth it. So I probably have to go like a really low worth.
Yeah.
Especially because I mean I did find it at a small game store in town for $10.
It's probably worth like $2 though.
Probably.
I think
is
I bought
mine.
it for $10 on Steam too.
Yeah.
I'm like, how is this game brand new on Steam $10 and at a game store it's also fucking $10?
Yeah.
Fuck you.
So I'm like, it's not a bad price.
Yeah.
You get decent gameplay with the glaive. If you're going for a story at all,
Don't. Yeah.
don't
It's
play
boring.
it. Like if you want a story in a game, which I typically want a story
You
in a
go
game,
for Knights of the Old Republic, motherfucker. That story is beautiful.
or The Last of Us,
or
Spider-Man,
anything
or-
that's not this. Even Spyro has a better fucking story than this.
way better. Even Banjo has a way better
Yeah.
story.
At least you're doing something you understand. You're
Yes.
rescuing your fucking sister.
Yeah.
But in this one, you don't know what you're doing. You don't even know that you're part of the CIA.
No, you don't. It doesn't even say that on the box.
Nope. Or your name.
No.
Hayden.
Hayden.
Hayden. I love the name.
Yeah.
And the character's love interest was kind of pretty.
Yeah, I liked her.
Yeah.
Nadia or whatever.
Nadia, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking Barbara for some reason. I'm like, Barbara.
No.
Yeah.
Or
All right,
Natalia,
well.
or one of the two. I don't remember.
Yeah, we would suggest you play a different game other than this game, but it was interesting at least. At the very least, it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Like, you could go in and you can get some shit done. But, yeah,
Definitely, like I said, like
play Halo
we
if you're going
both
to play a
said,
shooter.
you play that for the shooting. If you wanted to have some like interesting game mechanics you won't see in any other game.
Yeah.
You don't see a glaive in any other game.
No, you really don't, and it's cool. Like we said, that's the only thing that makes this game worthwhile is the glaive.
Yeah.
It is really cool. It's a cool fucking weapon. All right, guys, well,
Yeah.
thanks for watching. Next
do we-
week's game is going to be
I don't remember.
Limbo!
Limbo. Yes, I said it earlier today, but I
Yes.
forgot already.
Yes, yeah, and that game looks like it's going to be a fun little platformer, and I'm sure he's going to hate it, so.
Probably. It's short though, so at
it's-
least
it's
I don't
very
have
short.
to go through too much with it.
Similar to Ori and the Blind Forest, I think.
I think it's shorter.
Yeah, but like
I-
without all the weird mechanics.
I was watching Jin play it. My wife, probably a couple months ago, she started randomly just wanted to play it, and it's really slow. So it's
Yeah.
not like fast paced like Ori and stuff is. It's got some like puzzle kind of mechanics and
Yeah.
platforming mechanics, but it's really slow. Like
Yeah.
it's
Similar to there was another game kind of similar stylist as Limbo. I don't remember what it is.
Inside?
Now. No, not Inside, not Unraveled. Like all those games are pretty much the fucking same though. They're all slow starters and they all have some elements in it that's cool and then others that are shit. So I'm
Pretty
assuming it's going to be like that. But
Probably.
we'll get into that next week when we see you then.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching again. This is Soul of a Gamer, and we're going to leave you.
we love you,
We're
or at
leaving
least
you,
I
though.
do.
but we're leaving you.
Bye.